Darren.
I'm Brandon, and Candace is in the back.
You're also known as Scooter.
No, thank you.
Right, Scooter.
All right, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. I think Candace just called me a boomer in my ear.
I heard that too.
Yeah,
I heard
Candace
that too.
just called me a boomer.
Thanks for joining, everyone. Thanks, Life of Potterhead, TipVids. Thanks, everyone, for joining us in the chat.
Yeah, check out, I wore a different color today rather than black. I thought I'd wear blue today.
Hey, we're blue too.
What do you think? Yeah, we're both blue. Yeah, both
Anyways.
blue. Is that the name of your cat?
That is the name of my cat.
Oh, go figure.
He's an old cat.
He's an old cat.
Yeah.
I kind of like, I see Candace did some new things with the set, right? It seems like every show that she does something a little different.
Yeah, she does a little bit different.
Like I got this domo right above my head there, right? See, right above my head with the teeth there. And I see that under 21 cell phone ban is on our marquee. I think we're going to
talk about that here in a bit.
Yeah, Bob's Burger character.
I think Dwight Schrute is somewhere behind me.
Or
behind me.
Behind you somewhere, one of those. There it is, yeah. So, kind of cool what Candace does with the set all the time. Things are changing and stuff. There's the cedar hat that we got from one of our First Nation students who heard us speak. Kind of cool. So what do we got going on the show?
Let's go straight into the updates, shall we?
But before we go, I mean, people can talk to us, right?
Yeah, please, everyone who's watching, please engage with us here in the chat, in the comments when the video is published. We really love engaging with all of you, and yeah. Yeah,
for sure. Connect with us. For those of you who are joining us, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Ding!
Yes, please.
Subscribe to our channel. It's growing, and we love the growth of it. Like the video. Make sure you like it as well. And don't forget, all the other videos that we've ever shot are on this channel, right?
Yeah.
So they can find them all there, which is really cool, especially for parents who are watching us. We did a really good interview with a couple of experts, a PhD and another family counselor, on the issue of how to talk to our kids about healthy human sexuality versus pornogaphy.
Yeah,
right?
So that's on the channel?
It is. So what do we got going on today?
Well, we started back up traveling this week.
We did.
Yes, we're back at it.
Quite a road trip it was. It was a 4-hour drive to get to where we were going.
Yeah, we were at Ucluelet.
Ucluelet. Candace, how do you pronounce that?
She had some issues earlier.
Some issues? Okay, so a couple of issues. Yeah.
So, I was at the elementary school, and you were at the secondary school.
Yeah, all the kids call it Yuki, and that kind of stuff. Yeah, so I was at the high school, had a great presentation, all the staff and students at the high school. You were at the elementary school,
right? Yeah.
How were the kids there?
Oh, they were fantastic.
Yeah, they're always good.
Had a lot of fun.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun there. And then later that night, we presented all the parents.
Yeah. We were at this wonderful, we were in these two suites.
Yeah, like a bed and breakfast kind of a thing, right?
And this was the view in the morning on the first day. Look at that
view.
Look at that.
Right on the ocean.
What a great way to start.
Very zen-like, very zen-like. I think Candace would have liked it there.
However, next day, pouring rain and snow.
Oh my God. Yeah, the next day it was something else. I mean, we were trying to walk up to the car and we had to go through, like on that last picture where you saw the green of the grass, it kind of turned into a little bit of a lake.
Yeah.
A little bit of a lake to get through there. And then we had to drive through there was quite a bit of snow going from between Ucluelet and Port Alberni. It's quite the drive. Thank God we have a 4-wheel drive with winter tires.
Oh yeah.
Winter tires.
On the way up to Ucluelet, we stopped at the Love Locks on the way. We got a great little picture with Darren there on the fence.
Yeah, that overlooks like a river, right? I forget what's the name of the river.
Williams Lake, I think it was.
Yeah, something like that.
One of the lakes.
Candace can look in to figure out what the name was. But we stopped there. We saw this thing, and we got out, and there was like hundreds of love locks on there from couples who were driving to Ucluelet. And this is on the Pacific Rim Highway. So this goes from the east coast of Vancouver Island to the west side of Vancouver Island, Wally Creek. You kind of just whispered in there, Wally Creek. It overlooks Wally Creek. And so this is on our way into Tofino. In fact, into Ucluelet and Tofino, if you were to look out, the next spot of land that you would see would be Japan.
Yeah.
I mean, it's wide open. That's why, like, the storms that come into that area, phenomenal. A little bit of a trivia for you. Did you know that in Patrick Swayze original movie of Point Break, where he was an FBI agent and the surfing scenes, those were shot in Tofino.
Oh.
Did you know that? I didn't know that. I learned that while I was there. Kind of cool, right? But it was those locks were simply amazing, and they go back years to see like people who are lovers and newlyweds and even older weds like Mom and I. If Mom and I were to drive there, we'd put a love lock on there. Yeah. Maybe you and Candace.
There we go. There one time.
Maybe Candace just goes, I do it. Pretty cool.
She'd paint a lock.
She would paint a lock. She would. Didn't she got for Christmas? She got because she loves painting rocks, right?
Yeah.
And didn't you get her like a rock painting kit or something?
Yeah, that glow in the dark and that kind of thing. Yeah,
kind of cool. Because she hides them, right? she hides them, and then apparently it's this big thing on Instagram, right? Where people, it's a rock hunt where you paint these rocks and then you hide them, and you write on the back of them and that kind of stuff, and you hide them and people find them, and Candace kind of puts memes on them, right?
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting, right? Kind of a cool hobby. Keeps her out of trouble. Yeah, keeps her out of trouble.
Anyways, let's go straight into the news.
Oh, the other thing too, wasn't it kind of cool? Because you're celiac, right? Everybody knows that because we talk about that. You can't eat gluten, right?
Yes.
You can't eat gluten. No gluten. No gluten for you.
No
gluten for you. But we found this really cool restaurant on the way there and the way back, and it's in Ladysmith, which is between Victoria and Nanaimo. And it's called...
It was a Wild Poppy Bistro, and it's a full gluten-free kind of bistro cafe.
Yeah, you went in and you had it as takeout. You brought it in the car, and I can eat gluten, but boy, did that ever smell! Like,
it was good.
The sandwich you had, what was it? It was like a grilled cheese with...
It's a pulled pork grilled cheese.
Pulled pork grilled cheese, and then it came with soup, right?
Yeah, it was a split pea soup with ham.
Oh my God! Like, I usually like to eat high test. High test means it's got gluten in it. Gluten. But boy, when I was smelling that and looking, and then Candace, you came out with these 2 big loaves of bread as well. I'm thinking, what
they
are you
have
doing?
the best bread on Vancouver Island.
I know. Candace works with another company. We're not mentioning who they are, who kind of do gluten-free stuff. And she said that this bread from poppy seed, when she bit into it, she went, "Are you sure this is gluten-free?" Apparently, it's that good, right? And apparently, you said that whenever you, or both you and I, are driving up Island, we're stopping at this place now, right?
Yeah,
we're stopping
policy.
At this place. Yeah, kind of cool, right?
Anyways.
Yeah, there you go.
So let's go into the news.
Yeah, in the news.
Talk about some news that happened this week.
In the news. We love talking about past digital things on the news. What's this one?
Twitter came out earlier this week talking about how they're potentially looking at changing the way ats and replying to people are on Twitter, where you can kind of limit the type of people who can respond to your tweet. So typically, you do a tweet, and then anyone on Twitter, if you have a public account, can respond, can retweet, can interact.
Which can cause some problems, right, with haters and trolls and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, but at the same time, you could consider people who are saying very unpopular things on Twitter, on how they could then limit only the people who follow them or people who they only mention.
It's going to be interesting to follow this one, I think. I mean, I can see the reason why they do it, but I think it could also create these echo chambers, right? Where you only allow, because they're basically echo chambers as well, right? But now what it'll do is it'll only allow people that you want in there to kind of, if they're far right extremists and that kind of stuff, you can prevent anybody else from going in there to say anything, right? So concept of why they're doing it to help minimize some of the bad things that are now taking place in this platform, but it's going to be very interesting to watch how this develops, right? I do. So it's interesting, Twitter, and I kind of applaud them for doing it, but it's also going to be very interesting to see, because there's always cause and effects, right? So it'll be very interesting. What do you think?
Overall, I think this will probably be a good thing. I think overall be a good thing.
Yeah.
But we'll wait and see how it turns out.
Yeah, very good. Hey, I'm just noticing our set here, just over your shoulder there. Look, there's a picture of me. We can't zoom into it, of when I graduate. Right there. Yeah, that's me 33 years ago when I graduated from the police academy. I look so young. I think Mom's watching this and probably going, "Oh yeah, that's when he was cute." Okay, boomer. So what else we got going on in the news?
Firefox this week came out with a security notice, making sure if you are individuals who have the Firefox web browser and you use it, please make sure you update. There was a big security issue that was found that was being exploited, which will allow a third-party hacker to potentially gain access into your system. So just make sure your Firefox is updated, and it should automatically update anyways. So just make sure that's all up and good. I mean, we love Firefox. It's great for privacy. But like any tool out there.
Yeah, it's one of the big three I use. I use Safari, I use Google, and I use Firefox. And depending upon what I'm doing will dictate which one I'm going to use. So again, make sure you update your Firefox, right?
Just a quick little notice from us.
What else we got going?
Facebook this week has been updating their policies in regards to deep fakes and fake online manipulated animated content.
Yeah, there's been a lot of pressure on Facebook recently as a result of the last election and Cambridge Analytics and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, they've got incoming coming all the time about privacy issues and stuff. So again, it's nice to see that they're kind of taking some steps to kind of deal with some of this stuff, primarily public spawned, right?
Yeah.
Pressured, right? And so it should be, right? So, these deep fakes, and for those people who don't know what deep fakes are, Brennan, what are deep fakes?
Well, basically, it's using artificial technology and advanced AI to basically reconstruct a fake face or a real person's face to mimic it, where it will speak, it will talk, it will move and animate what looks to be like a real human.
Yeah, if people want to know what it looks like, just go to YouTube and type in deep fakes, and there's some really good videos on there showing what a real video looks like compared to a deep fake, where somebody makes the real video and basically alters it using AI, so it's really hard to differentiate between the two. So check it out. So it's kind of cool to see that Facebook is going to go to this, because as we know, Facebook is the largest platform in the world right now. And as social media and digital literacy presenters, we consistently hear some others saying that kids aren't using Facebook anymore. Not so true, not so true. Depending upon where we go will dictate if it's popular or not. But having said that, I don't care if it's a teen or adult, dealing with these deep fakes I think is really important, because Australia right now has actually created a law now that makes deep fakes for the uses of sexual issues, right?
Yeah.
Right, where you can take a movie, a porn movie, and you can put anybody's face you want into any of the actors or actresses, and you wouldn't know that it wasn't the person whose face was on there. That's how real it is. And they were using it for things like extortion and all that kind of stuff. So it's a big concern. And what's even bigger concern now is you can only imagine if it was a world leader, like a president or a prime minister somewhere, who deep fake goes on there where they're saying things that really they didn't say, and how it could spark a critical incident, i.e. like a war.
Yeah.
Right? So those are I think it's kind of a good thing that Facebook is looking at this. And there was a company that kind of developed technology.
Yeah, it was Adobe earlier last year.
Yeah.
Adobe, we talked about it on the show last year, where Adobe designed software, AI, to detect AI video. So I would assume that same technology is kind of probably being used here. We'll see, but
it's one of the positive things I think Facebook has done. I mean, they've come under some heavy incoming, right, with respect to a lot of the stuff they haven't done.
Will 2020 be the year of Facebook?
It'll be interesting.
We'll see.
Something
else that hit the headlines quite a lot this week. This news article. Vermont senator proposes ban on cell phones for anyone under the age of 21. And apparently people are freaking out. Especially older people like parents and boomers. This is a classic example of reading a headline and not actually reading the story. And I put the quote right here.
Yeah.
So the senator who actually proposed this bill.
So this guy actually proposed this bill, said this.
Yeah, this is what they said. I'm not going to push for the bill to pass, he said. I wouldn't vote for the thing. This is just to make a point.
Yeah, the point is, look at me, look at me, look at me.
What?
Like, are you kidding me? It's like he's promoting juvenoia. Juvenoia is a fear of what kids are doing in the culture today in order to fan a moral panic.
Yeah,
and that's what this did. Candace is just saying in our ears right now. Like, parents are going crazy over this thing, right? So are the kids. Are you kidding me?
Here's a quote. So the senator proposed a bill that would ban smart cell phones use. He told CNN, quote, "Cell phones are just as dangerous as guns."
Oh my God. Well, maybe he needs to read this research that just came out. Ready? Hit him. Boom! There it is. Right there. It just came out from a researcher who specializes in this field, who's basically saying that, phones are making people more, not less, social researchers say. I mean, it's like any other tool. It can be used in a positive way or a negative way. It's not the tool, it's how people use the tool that makes it good or bad, right? Or desirable or less than desirable.
And we were talking about this article before we started the show.
Yeah.
And what you were saying to me is basically what they're concluding is social is just changing.
Yeah.
Much in the same way social changed with the introduction of the old school traditional telephone.
Yeah, well, a really good example in my parents' presentations, I show this picture, a 2016 picture of a bunch of young people, millennials, people your age, standing on the road at a bus stop looking at their phones. And there's a whole row, and you don't see anybody looking up, they're all looking down, right? And the people go, yeah, look at that, look at that. And then I flash a picture of the early 1900s where people are on a street and all of them are at a bus stop, or at that point in time a horse and carriage stop, or trolleys, and they all have their newspapers. They're all doing the same thing. They're doing the same thing. It's just a different way. You know, papers, I would say, would be analog, and the kids today are doing it digitally, right? So again, what this researcher said is that they're not becoming less social, that just the way they're becoming social is different because of the platforms.
Yeah. And I mean, I love sharing the story when the traditional telephone, like the landline telephone, was first being introduced into the house many years ago. We heard the same type of stories.
We did.
People were so afraid about this telephone that it was destroying society and social relationships.
Yeah, but it would ruin the moral fabric of our kids.
But in today's world, it's laughable.
You weren't old enough to know party lines. That was my generation. You know, where you guys use text messaging and chat groups, we would go on party lines, on phone lines, where we could all dial into this one number and all talk to one another.
Bye, Jess. Bye, Life of Potterhead. We'll see you later.
Yeah. So very interesting. Very interesting.
Another sort of company making changes to policies and safety improvements. Uber this week said they are bringing audio recording and ride checks and other authentication features into their system. We have a quick comment here from Titvids. I believe phones are important for safety.
To a degree. I mean, I hear a lot of parents saying, you know, I give my phones to kids to keep them safe. Well, phones won't prevent crime from taking place, but they're really good after crime reporting tools, i.e. to get help or that kind of stuff. So I agree that phones can make things a little better, a little safer. You know, if somebody has a phone and they're lost, sometimes the phones can be used to track an individual, to find them from a search and rescue or policing standpoint. But I think we got to be careful to say that phones are making people safe, you know, like safe, because these don't prevent crime or bad things from happening, but they're really good to have after something bad has happened and you now need help or somebody needs to get a hold of you, right? Kind of thing. So, but back to this.
Thank you for the comment, Tip.
Yeah, for sure. For this Uber thing, this came about as a result of that expose that I think hit the Washington or New York Times. Remember how they had a look at all the sexual assaults that were taking place? Remember that? We spoke about that, right?
So basically there's a feature that Uber has been implementing in the US and another country, and they're now bringing it into India, which has had more significant reports of issues occurring with Uber. Where basically, if you and the driver are in a car and the car takes an irregular turn, or it takes a longer than usual way to get to your destination, Uber will now potentially send a notification to the passenger and driver to make sure both of you are okay.
Good idea.
And they're also continuing to rolling out a feature that will require passengers to provide a 4-digit PIN code before the ride starts to verify you're in the right car. Another
good step, right? Here's another good example as a result of an expose that came forward where they were talking about and identified some safety challenges with using Uber or any kind of drive service. These companies have now decided, they're kind of right, so they're looking at ways to implement change, right? Which is kind of good. So again, I kind of give a tip of our white hat to Uber for making those changes. You know, another thing that Uber could do too is I just installed a cam in the car, right? Or a dash cam, because we do so much traveling in the United States right now because of some of the issues surrounding insurance. We just thought, having this thing in our car, if there's an accident, can work for us, especially if it's not our fault and stuff. But the camera that I got actually allows you to plug in a second camera so you can see what's going on inside the vehicle as well. Because not only do we have to think about the safety of the passengers, but also the safety of the drivers, right? The drivers as well. Because a lot of these people who are driving for Uber, they're using it as a secondary job to help supplement the income in today's real world. So, there's other technology out there that can be installed to help make things safer for everybody, both the driver and the passengers. And this is, again, tip of my white hat, another step for a company to take some steps to make something safer. But with technology comes vulnerability, right?
Yeah, and I mean, not all good news this week from companies. So Amazon Ring, again, it's...
I think Ring is taking on Facebook's persona now. You know how Facebook was getting bombarded? I think Ring now, because they're the leaders in the field, right? They really are. So now they're getting all kinds of incoming, and rightly so, right? There's some issues that go on with Ring that maybe people didn't think about deep enough, because again, whenever developing a platform, we should have security as its foundation. So what's going on with Ring?
So apparently some staff members were found found snooping on customer security videos.
Go figure.
Amazon sent out this email. We're letting you know as a customer, addresses, phone numbers were disclosed by an employee. So, I mean, this is the thing with data companies, so any company that you store your data with or videos with, generally speaking, in most cases, employees of that company can have access to what it is you upload.
Yeah, I mean, the issue is, it happens all the time. The weakest link in any security system is the human link, right? And if you have employees that are not being very moral, right, and doing things that they should be doing, because they have access to this stuff, they can act immorally, unethically, and do stuff like this, right? So, you know, good on Ring for identifying that issue and firing those employees, but now Ring maybe needs to look at what it is that they're doing and maybe tightening things up so that only certain employees have access and not everybody. I don't know, you know, that's going to be for Ring to look at. But again, you know, no matter what the technology, it's always the human link that makes it the most vulnerable, which is kind of maybe tied into the next one.
Yeah. So a couple other stories
bit of a segue
this week. Having to do with smartphones and malware and government surveillance. So. So one story from Malwarebytes. A particular phone from Assurance Wireless, which is a government-funded program to help people who have low economic status to get phones at a reasonable price.
Yeah, so people can't afford phones. Government has enacted certain programs in place where they can deliver phones at a much more reduced price, right?
So basically what's really great about this is, people get phones.
Right.
But the issue is security. So on these cheap phones, apparently this company had determined that there was unremovable software that communicated with what appears to be a Chinese server that allows for uploads of content. And apparently the phone got infected with malware because of this unremovable piece of software that's mandatory for updates on the phone that communicates with a server outside of the United States.
Yeah, you know, it doesn't surprise me to a degree that phones that are being given out in bulk by a government agency, that agency is not going to do something with those phones or put some software on there that allows people to track or see or do other kind of stuff, right? So, I mean, with convenience comes vulnerability.
Yeah.
We say that again and again and again. And maybe and it kind of ties into the next one,
because we saw this kind of mirrored as well with another story having to deal with Samsung. The same kind of thing was happening where Samsung, on one of their mandatory apps that updates the phone, was connecting to a server outside of the United States where data was being sent. Now, in response, Samsung has made a statement saying, you know, it's really not as bad as you would think. Of course they'd say that.
That's from the company, right? Of course the vendor's going to say that.
The only data that's sent back is generic information needed to optimize storage, specifically naming the OS version, phone model, and storage capacity, among other data.
You know.
Among other data.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
I wonder what that among other data means, right? Like, it's the issue here is that, again, Chinese company, right? And I mean, I know that everybody's getting a little hyper-vigilant over the Chinese companies. I mean, TikTok is a good example. We spoke about that last week. But when Chinese companies are installing this stuff on systems, and we know that China was they were stealing a lot of intellectual property, right? Using technology and stuff. And I mean, it's in their best interest to kind of collect as much data as they can about what's going on in the world. And so we have to be somewhat highly suspicious of that. So, you know, here we have Samsung saying, you know, it's not as bad as you think. Well, what company is not going to say this? It's kind of like just recently in the news, we didn't shoot down an airliner. It wasn't us. Well, guess what? They now just came out that country and said, yes, we did, right? So, I mean, we got to be somewhat suspicious of this and just recognize, again, I think no matter what platform you use, I don't care if it's an Android or an iOS, just remember that anything you're doing on that device is public, it's permanent, it's searchable, exploitable, copyable, shareable, and is potentially all for sale, right? Like, that's just the reality of digital technology in today's world. So, going into that,
unless you buy a phone like the Black Phone, which is an Android operating system designed to be privatized.
Is that still around?
I believe it's still around, but you got to pay for it.
Yeah,
it costs more money.
I remember reading that, and obviously, you know, phones that are being used by government officials. are probably fairly well insulated as well to some degree. But again,
that takes expertise, labor, and time to build those protections.
Yeah, for sure.
But for entry-level consumer cheap devices, there is a potential there for information to be released.
Shared. Yeah, shared and looked at without you knowing it's being looked at or shared. So just be aware of that. So again, when I'm using my device, I'm very careful about what I share, say, or do on it for those very reasons, right? So again, with convenience comes vulnerability. Extremely convenient, these cell phones. But with that comes specific vulnerabilities, and those specific vulnerabilities are usually to our privacy of some degree, right? So.
All right, let's talk about some this tech project.
This next one.
Okay, well this one's okay.
Oh my God!
A couple of interesting products from CES this year. I just want to quickly highlight.
I think we should go to CES.
That'd be fun.
That'd be fun, right? The first 2 weeks of I think it'd be cool to come down there and see the new techs. What is CES?
Consumer Electronic Showcase.
And that's in Las Vegas every year, right? In Las Vegas.
I believe it's in Las Vegas.
Yeah, it is. It's in Las Vegas. Yeah.
So, Sean from Kinzu went there.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, he did a talk down there while he was down there with Kinzu. Yeah.
But some of the more obscure things that came out in the news from CES, Pampers came out with this little Bluetooth dongle that goes inside your child's diaper that indicates and sends you a notification on your phone if it's went number 1 and number 2.
Oh my God! It's 2020, so that means it's 2020 years after the death of Christ, right? So 2020. That's what AD stands for. And up until this point in time, we didn't need this technology. Things are really good. And the other question I have is, why would anybody want to put any kind of Bluetooth technology into a kid's diaper to let them know if they did number 1 and number 2?
To be fair,
hold on.
It doesn't mean this was actually going to go on the market. We don't know it might be a market product. We don't know yet.
But let's think about this. And so
it could just be a PR case that Pampers is doing. It could be a very creative PR.
Let's game this out. So let's say it actually does come to market and it's a Bluetooth device. Well, what's happening? Do I really want anybody else to know if my child is doing a number 1 and number 2? And so what? What are we doing? I could tell when you did a number 2. Oh my God! I could tell within seconds if you did a number 2, right? I mean, it's oh really? This is kind of.
This is probably a very creative PR stunt that Pampers is doing because people are talking about it. So I mean, it's good on them. But I mean, it's just interesting.
I mean, this is a really good example of technology looking for a need. You know what I mean? Really?
Oh! I didn't put it on here, but there's a device that scoops up dip for you and lays it back down exactly how you spread it.
What?
Don't worry. Look it up.
Like what, on a sandwich or something?
It's on a table. You do like a dip spread, like a dip, and then
for chips.
And then device like a flat dip. Like if I were to take mayo, put it on the table.
Yeah.
There was a device that was shown at CES.
Yeah.
That it comes up.
Yeah.
And it scoops up the dip perfectly,
and
then perfectly puts it back down without disturbing it.
Why? Why? Come on, why? Now, having said that, this next piece of tech,
this is interesting.
I like this one.
This one's interesting.
Check this out. Check this one out. Candace is yelling. Candace is yelling.
Added this one in.
Yeah, I know, and she's going, I love this one, and Brandon made fun of me of adding it. Good on you, Candace, because I love it too. Check this out.
Almost cat, there are 3 main features. The first is bionic, so it has.
It's a robotic cat.
It's kind of like the robotic dog from last year.
Cat. It can run, move, and also scratching. And the second is so it can interact with people or objects. So this is one feature we really want to emphasize. It can interact with people, so you can touch it.
No kitty litter.
You can play teasers with
No
it,
kitty litter.
No
toys, food.
Some traditional cat toys. The third is the cat is open
and
source.
And it's open source.
It's an open source cat.
What does open source mean for those people who are watching this?
The code's out there for anyone to see and use and modify.
This AI.
Yeah. So what does it mean?
It's basically people can.
That is okay.
Maybe stop the video. Yeah, there we go.
People can, they can use the software, they can download it, they can change it, they can edit it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Does it purr?
I don't know if it does. It might. I think it does.
I saw it kneading like a cat kneads. I think Candace calls making it biscuits. making biscuits.
Yeah,
is
making
what
biscuits.
Candace calls. We love cats. You love cats as well,
do.
kind of thing. So, yeah, kind of cool. I kind of like when you showed that. I said, you know what? Because you showed the actual just a picture of it. I said, let's show the video because I think that's cool, right? I kind of liked it. How much was it? Did it say how much they were thinking about selling it for?
It was a lot of money, apparently.
$1 billion. Yeah, $1 billion.
Vince made a good comment in regards to the dip thing I mentioned. It's not just for dip; it's also for lab and science too.
Okay. So if it's for lab and science, and then Candace also said for people who have, what did you say, Candace? And accessibility for people with disabilities. Okay, that makes perfect sense.
Makes total sense.
Makes total sense, right? But if it's just for dip, why? Like, why, right? But, I mean, it makes perfect sense for lab and science issues where you have to be fairly exact, or if you have a disability and you need to use a mechanical alternative using technology, robotics, it makes total sense to me. But dip? Really? Dip? Anyways. No.
Hey, it's been 30 minutes.
Wow. 30-minute show. There you go. Things that have happened over the past week. Candace found most of these things too, again, I heard.
Yes, and we are still kind of working on how to integrate Candace more into the show. We're kind of working on her own little separate little set back over there.
Yeah.
To be shown at a later date, which will be a lot of fun. Yeah, our next show is next week again. And I think we're also
maybe we can get her to do a mummer thing.
Oh boy, no! Christmas is over.
But still, can't you do mummers for like Easter?
No.
Halloween?
No.
It's only Christmas. She's from New. For those people who are watching who don't know what a mummer is, Google it. Go to YouTube. Mummering.
You'll have to
YouTube.
wait a year for that.
Oh God.
But I think we're potentially doing a Facebook Live on next week as well.
Is it next week? Yeah, that's more of a parent-centric thing, right? So we're
we're going to be live next week again. Thank you everyone for trying to be 3 live shows that day. A lot of fun.
Yeah, we have an Instagram one that starts at about noon, and that's really like it's not really a show
per
se. It's just kind of relaxing, getting things. It's more of a banter to talk about getting warmed up for our YouTube live show, and then once we do our YouTube live, now we're going to do a Facebook. And the Facebook is going to be primarily for parents, right?
Yeah.
Primarily for parents. So.
Anyways.
And then this week, we've got, we're busy again this week. Like, I'm going to be up in Duncan, and then I'm going down to Washington State. Yeah. And then you're in Burnaby, right? Yeah, Burnaby, doing some teaching in Burnaby and stuff. So, yeah, that'll be in, Candace goes,
Candace is in
I'm going to be in Langford, right? So,
she'll be here in the office.
Yeah, she's going to be doing stuff in the office from a social media standpoint. So, all
right.
Yeah, so I don't think there's anything else.
I think we're all good. Thank you, everyone. It was a pretty slow show. Not a lot of people on the chat, but I guess week back to school, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So, thank you everyone for joining us, and we'll see you all next time.
Yeah. So from Darren, that's me.
Brandon and Candace in the back. Thank you for
Beth,
joining us.
who's in the house. Beth, who's in the house watching us. See you guys next week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye now.